Hello, we're back on today's class. And on today's class, we're talking about dyes and washes. I know most of you are asking, what is this? But it's a very important part of garment production. But before we proceed, I would like to ask you, what do you know about dyes and washes? Take a minute to answer that. In today's class, we'll be talking about fabric dyeing, types of fabric dyes, what fabric you should be using for your production, a guide to selecting fabric dyes for your project, what are washes, types of washes, and a guide to selecting the types and washes suitable for you. Without any further ado, let's get started. Clothes are now produced in different colors to give everyone a feel of uniqueness. In previous times, this was not possible due to lack of vibrant materials. Therefore, the use of dyes allows us to give a garment a gorgeous and vibrant appearance. Different kind of dyes are used for different type of textiles, and each fabric dye has a unique impact on textiles and also impacts a different kind of unique color texture on textiles. What is dyes and dyeing? Dyes are colorants used on fabric. Dyes are often applied on fabric as a form of solution. By immersing them in this solution, clothes can be dyed. Dyes are also used to prevent fading of clothes, whether it's being exposed to sun or during washes. The dye used on clothing has to be chemical stable, and another dye has molecules that bind molecules of the fabric together to prevent them from fading. Generally, fabric clothes can be dyed at any stage. This could be when it's at the fiber stage, at the yarn stage, or when it's as finished form as a garment. The most common type of dyes that we have are natural and synthetic. And as the name suggests, natural dyes are obtained from natural sources, while synthetic dyes are artificially manufactured. Here are some of the dyes that we have in the textile industry. Number one, fiber reactive dyes. The fiber dyes are dyes that create a molecule bond with fiber molecules and dye molecules. As the molecule bind, the fabric is washed safe fabric and dyed with fiber reactive dyes. These dyes can be used in cotton, fabric, and cellulose protein fiber fabric. Number two, natural dyes. Natural dyes are often gotten from natural resources such as plants, animals, and materials. Since they are from natural resources, they're often environmental friendly. Nowadays, natural dyes are slowly getting replaced by synthetic dyes because synthetic dyes are cheaper, reliable, and can be easily supplied by vendors. Another type of dye we have is VAT dye. VAT dye is a type of dyes that are insoluble in water. They require reducing agents. Their name VAT is derived from an old indigo method, such as dyeing VAT, where indigo had to be reduced to sunlight form. So to dye a cloth in a vat, one must perform oxidation and reduce reactions and keep the pH level at an ideal level. These dye often offer high characteristics for color fastness, and the dyeing process usually takes place in a vat or a bucket. Direct dyes. Direct dyes are usually used for coloring cellulose type fabrics, such as cotton. They are soluble in water and they form colored anions. Natural dyes are easy to apply and are less expensive. They are the most preferred over fabric dyes. They are also dull in color and they have a medium color resistance. These dyes are not suitable for the bright colors and are light fast. Dispersed dyes. Dispersed dyes are fabric dyes that are sparsely soluble in water and are substantive in a few hydrophobic fibers. Dispersions make application of this dye in water, as the name suggests. It was specially made for cellulose acetate and mainly for polyester fiber. Dispersed dyes are converted into fine particles for making their paste. They are sometimes even sprayed dye to obtain in powder. This dye can be used on fabrics like georgette and nylon. All-purpose dyes. All-purpose dyes are a combination of different dyes, such as direct and acid dyes, and can be used on a wide range of fabrics. These dyes can also be used on mixed fabrics, made of mixing two different types of fabrics, but this dye cannot be used on polyester or jacquard fabric. Azoic dyes. This dye contains at least one azo group and is therefore called azoic dyes. Dyes have high coloring properties and are used for dyeing bright colors like red or yellow. They are mainly used for dyeing fabrics in shades of red or printings. These many classes of high fasting dye lack red colors. Azoic dyes are produced using a two-component coupling compound and a diazo compound. Basic atomic dyes are one of the first synthetic dyes extracted from coal tar derivatives. Basic dyes are commonly used on natural silk, cotton, wool, and other modified acrylic fabrics. Acetic dyes is added to the dye bar to increase the absorption of this dye. This dye also finds its application in the coloration of paper. Acid dyes. For protein fibers such as wool and silk, acid dyes are used. They are the best dyes for coloring protein fabrics. Acid dyes have several subtypes of dyes, making them a large category in themselves. The most popular types of acid dyes are leveling and lancet acid dyes. Mordant dyes. These dyes do not dye in the fabric directly, as it needs a binding agent that is mordant, which improves as well increases the fastness of the fabric. Dye against light, water, and perspiration. It is usually used on cotton, wool, or other protein fabrics. It is well important to choose the right type of mordant, or else the color of fabrics will not be as expected. And lastly, but not the least, sulfur dyes. Sulfur dyes is the most common used fabric dye of them all. They are used to dye cellulose-based materials. It is very inexpensive and has a good wash fastness. It has a pulse sunlight resistance and is easy to apply. The dye is mostly used on cotton. Using sulfur dye to color fabrics includes several steps: reduction, dyeing, washing, oxidation, soaping, and final washing. Sulfur dyes often make fabrics tender or weak and they get damaged easily. What are the guides to selecting a dye? Number one is to identify your fabric type. This different type of fabric required kind of different type of dye. Once you know the components of your fabric, you can easily pick a dye that suits your category. Number two is to consider the dye types. There are different type of dyes, as we said earlier. Consider the advantages and the properties over each other. Number three, assess your project durability needs. If your project requires an item that does not require to be washed often, opt for color fast dyes like fiber reactive for cotton or acid types for wool and silk. For items that will experience a lot of sunlight and washing, look for dyes that have UV resistance. Number four, choose eco-friendly and non-toxic options. Number five, select dyes colors with blending options. Look for dyes that allow for mixing to create custom colors. For projects requiring specific use, this flexibility can be very helpful. Number six, consider application method. If done on a small scale, liquid dyes might be more convenient, while powdered dyes are more suitable for large batches or deeper color saturation. Number seven, test the dye on a sample fabric. Before committing, that's before producing in bulk, test the dye on a scrap piece of paper to ensure the color and application method meets your project's requirement. And lastly, check for light fastness and color fastness ratings. Washes. Washes is one of the most important parts of garments production because they are used to modify the appearance, size, outlook, and comfortability of garments. Apart from removing bad and odor textile, washes also create a special impact on garment status. There are different types of washing techniques which are applied nowadays to modify garments and meet buyers' unique tastes. Some of the washes are also capable of enhancing the lifespan of a garment and few might diminish the garment strength. Different type of washes. Number one, normal washing. Normal washing is the simplest type of wash with lowest washing cost. By this system, starch materials present in new garment is removed together with dirt. And after wash, the garment feels soft during use. During normal wash on garment, washing effect could be varied by altering washing temperature, washing time, quantity of detergents used. Stone wash or acid wash. This method makes use of stone called pumice in the wash process. The stone gives the fabric a faded dotted pattern. The use of acid can also give a similar effect, but using a stone gives it a more faded pattern. Sand wash. Sand wash employs use of sand particles to achieve a similar effect such as stone wash, but it creates a slightly rougher texture and enhances the washed out appearance of the fabric. It involves using sand and blasting them on the fabric repeatedly. Sun fade. Sun fade is a garment technique that refers to the intentional fading of fabric colors during this process. The garment undergoes controlled application of bleach spray, which lightens the color, as seen in the image here. Enzyme wash. In this variation, specific enzymes are used to break down the fabric surface fibers, resulting in a soft, warming feel enzyme wash, which is particularly used in achieving vintage look on denims. Enzyme wash are usually used on wash denims, as you can see here. Pigment wash. Pigment washing involves applying pigment or dyes to the garment's surface after washing, resulting in vibrant and eye-catching colors. Same here. Monkey wash. Monkey wash involves treating the denim fabric with chemicals, then scrubbing it with rubber balls or pinlets to achieve the desired effect. This creates a unique patterns of wear and fading that can mimic the natural aging of fabric. What are the guides for selecting the type of washes that are suitable for you? Number one, consider the fabric type. Number two, determine the desired texture. Number 3, assess the color retention needs. Number 4, pick washes based off on environmental impact. Number 5, check based off on fabric and softness and feel. Number 6, consider washing durability. Number 7, select for special effect and aesthetics. And number 8, which is very important, test on the sample first. I've listed out some of the common washes and their effect. For stone wash, it adds a one rough texture with faded spots, ideal for a vintage feel. For enzyme wash, it's eco-friendly, provides softness and light fading without harsh materials. For acid wash, creates a dramatic high contrast faded look commonly used for denim. For bio wash, softens fabric with natural enzymes, reducing peeling and increased comfort. For silicone wash, this is a smooth, luxurious feel with supple sheen, gentle on colors. Sand blasting offers a distressed, rugged look by physically wearing down the fabric areas. And that's all for our dyes and washes class. And also, that will be the end of our production class. If you have any question regarding all the topics that have been treated, kindly leave a comment below and we'll make sure we attend them. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys on the next. Cheers.